Hello, everybody. I hope that you've been having a good week. I tried recording this a couple of times, but I couldn't really get a good flow going, so we're just going to do this as a relatively short stream. Now, for those of you who have been watching the media at all, Slovakian Prime Minister Robert Fico was unfortunately shot a couple of days ago multiple times. Now, please pray for him. He's done a lot of good for Slovakia. It's very sad to see this happen to him. So that's bad. That's sad. We hope that he gets better. The thing, though, I guess to kind of to keep in mind though is it's not every day, that the thing though. I guess to kind of that world leaders just get like shot in public. I mean, that's kind of weird, isn't it? Like the last person I could think of was Shinzo Abe, although he wasn't prime minister anymore when he got shot. So then the question is, why did this happen? How could it be that that the prime minister of Slovakia, of all places, not exactly the most politically relevant country, would just get shot like that? And to answer that question, we're going to have to do a little Scooby-Doo detective work. Because this whole thing glows brighter than Rudolph's nose. And I don't know, if you want to say that this is like a conspiracy theory or something, I mean fair enough, but I don't know. I think where there's smoke, there's fire, and there's a lot of smoke here. A lot of smoke. Hence the title of this, Who Will Rid Me of This Troublesome Slovak? So, he got attacked. Now, has anything been okay, so let's talk a bit about Robert Fico. So Robert Fico is, at the expense of being cringe, Robert Fico is really based. His party, the Social Democrats, are not like your normal Social Democratic Party. They are a socially conservative, nationalist, Eurosceptic party. I don't even know if they were necessarily Eurosceptic, but they are conservative. They support traditional family values. They're extremely anti-immigration, anti-migration policy, and try to defend kind of the integrity of the Slovakian nation. Robert Fico famously said, "We don't want any Muslims in Slovakia." It is. So they support a constitutional ban on same-sex civil unions, marriages, and adoptions. Voted for a bill prohibiting display of rainbow flags on public buildings. Robert Fico said the government monitors every single Muslim who is in the territory of the Slovakian Republic. Fico declared Islam has no place in Slovakia. He challenged multiculturalism and caused for the country's preservation of the country's traditions and identity. Fico called on political scientist Joez Link of the Muslim faith, commenting on Semper not to work as a political scientist in a Christian country. So, although once again, he is a member of the Social Democratic Party. So they are, like I said, they're kind of, I don't know if you want to say third positioners or Nazbol if we want to be memey about it, but as you can see, he's kind of problematic. He's also Catholic, as are most Slovaks. So the question is, was there any event that led up to this? Now, he has kind of been the closest thing Orban has to an ally. Like, what will often happen is Hungary will vote against something and Fico will back him up, or he'll give him rhetorical support, or he'll vote in a similar fashion. And people were really scared when he returned to power because he was against further funding to Ukraine. Because if I recall, I think his reason for opposing funding to Ukraine was Ukraine is the most corrupt country on earth, and we shouldn't be giving money because it's just going to be embezzled. Which, given what happened in Kharkov recently, was proven pretty much 100% correct. But yeah, so he was problematic. Now, the question is, once again, who shot Robert Fico? Was it just, well, I mean, technically he's a man of the left because he's a socialist, but it doesn't really matter. So he is he's a far right neo-Nazi pro-Russia guy. So whenever a right-wing or conservative politician gets shot, it's a lone wolf. Whenever a left-wing politician gets shot, it's domestic terrorism by far-right groups. So Fico was like a nationalist and a social conservative, so it was just a lone wolf. However, this whole thing, like I said, glows brighter than Rudolph's nose. So let's just take a step back and see what was the media saying a couple days before this whole thing happened. Surely this isn't extremely suspicious and happened at a very opportune time. So this is from May 2nd. Thousands rally in Slovakia to protest a controversial overhaul of public broadcasting. Wait, we're having a massive protest. I believe it was because of foreign control of the media. Basically, the media, I think, in Slovakia is entirely owned by like the U.S. and the EU government. So they were trying to nationalize it and trying to kind of drive out some of the foreign influence. And they didn't like that. And so all of these people just spontaneously showed up and started protesting. I mean, we haven't seen this anywhere before. It's not as if there's another country that's currently undergoing regime change because they're trying to do something about foreign interference. It's really weird. Let's see here. Taking full control of the media. It's not like they would ever do that. The proposed changes would mean the public broadcaster would cease to exist and replaced by a new organization. The Slovak democracy needs a strong and independent public broadcaster, and its employees need your support. Michael Simek, head of the Progressive Slovakia Party. And you know what? The guy who shot Fico was a supporter of the Progressive Slovakia Party. Funny how that works. If Fico takes control, it would be a decisive step on the way towards Orban and Putin. So we have the leader of the... so we have Fico trying to regain control over the Slovakian media from the EU and the US. We have a opposition pro-EU shill saying that he's turning the country into Hungary and Russia, and a member of that person's party or a supporter of his party shot him. It's very interesting. They don't understand the essence of public broadcasting is to promote democracy, the rule of law, and freedom. Public broadcasters are cancer. Like they're the worst. They're the worst. Critics worry that Fico will abandon the country's pro-Western course and follow the direction of Hungary under populist Prime Minister Viktor Orban. Thousands have repeatedly rallied in the capital across Slovakia to protest Fico's policies. I mean, we've had this a couple times. With this in Serbia, we had this in and then we have this from Politico. Journalists warn new populist prime minister is trying to sideline those in the media that he disagrees with. Whoa. Want to remake the public broadcaster into a state-run TV channel that could soon be run by a flat earther. The government's goal, bring the media hill. Because liberals never crack down on the media. They never crack down on it. They never try to ban it. Okay, here we go. Viktor Orban, including abolishing a key anti-corruption office. That's anti-corruption offices always glows. Subjugate to give the coalition. It's triggered concerns in Brussels about media freedom and civil liberties in another European country. Now, I should add once again, just in reference to the whole situation that's going on in Georgia, is the government's bill is literally just ethics and NGO funding. So what the bill is doing is It is displaying who actually is funding the NGOs. And of course, the NGOs in Georgia, I think there's like 10,000 NGOs for a country of like 3 million people. It's some like absurd number. And of course, they're all completely funded by the US and like the NED and stuff. So they don't want that to pass. So we have riots in Georgia like saying that we can't have transparency and where organizations get their funding. So that's cool. Not being objective enough. Okay, let's see here. So that happened. Fico also apparently was going after NGOs, civil rights groups. Civil rights groups always, like, whenever you hear that term, it's just, it's pretty much, and I know I'm sounding like a conspiracy theorist. We'll go through this sometime if I can find a list, but if you start going to these countries and you start looking at the funding structure of basically all these people who are pushing for pause, it's largely funded by the State Department. The National Endowment for Democracy gives all of these people money. So he was attacking NGOs. Slovakia gives protection to a man accused of running pro-Russia influenced media campaign. All this stuff was like 2 weeks before. It almost seems like they were setting something out. Slovakia opposition hopes European vote will put brakes on populist PM. Progressives counting on a strong performance to rein in Robert Fico's drift away from the rule of law. So this was 2 weeks ago. I mean, kind of sounds like the MSM is. Oh, it is actually. It's literally, holy shit! It actually says that. That is literally. It is the. It's literally the foreign NGO. I didn't even realize that. Oh boy, this is fucking amazing. Discussions are going on between Brussels and Bratislava on anti-corruption safeguards and what Slovakia would need to secure. Okay, so the European Commission's vice president in charge of EU values. So basically the chief commissar. There's a VP in charge of EU values? Like what? That's Orwellian. Met Fico and Bratislava last week to discuss issues. Legislation that would label civil society groups that receive more than 5,000 euros a year in international funding as organizations with foreign support has also triggered worries of the EU and among NGOs. Wow. So he was trying to do something about all these organizations that were being like, it's just, they're not sending their best. They're not sending their best. This bill's a full frontal assault on civil society. Amnesty International Slovakia's director, a thinly disguised attempt to stigmatize civil society organizations that are critical of the authorities and hampers their vital work. So, yeah, it's hard. It's rough, man. Like, we can't have transparency in reporting. And then we have this article. Let me see here. Okay, so anyway, so he got shot. Now, immediately after he got shot, and I know I'm using Russia Today, but they've kind of scrubbed this from the internet. So immediately after he got shot, British broadcaster Sky News said, it's worth thinking about who this individual is. It would make sense. Slovakia is a very conflicted place at the moment. So I'm trying to find it because
we don't know his condition yet, but he's being treated. But it's worth thinking about who this individual is. As I said, described in reporting as a populist, as a nationalist.
Yeah, well, that would make sense. I mean, Slovakia is a very conflicted place at the moment. I mean, Fico himself, he established this smear party, SMER, which is a social democracy party, back in 1999. And he's been, I think as you were just saying, Prime Minister 3 times. So he's a well-known figure. But he's become very pro-Russian over the years, and one wonders why and how, but maybe that's his conviction. And like Viktor Orban in Hungary, he's set his teeth against going along with sanctions, with EU sanctions, against common procurement. Slovakia is it's a small country. In the sense that it's the Czechoslovakia as was. Mm-hmm. The Czech Republic is the bigger bit. Slovakia is the smaller bit, although it was the more industrial in the old days. So it's not to be, it's not negligible, but Slovakia is not a major player within the EU. But a bit like Hungary, which is also a bigger country, but it's not a very big player in the EU economically. They dig their toes in against aid to Ukraine and against any sort of sympathy with Kiev. And they keep saying, look, we want the war to finish. Yeah. And by that they mean they want the Russians to succeed, and then the war will be over if Ukraine would just surrender and give up territory. And so that's the view he takes. Now, that's very divisive in Slovakia. It's divisive within the EU. So it's not surprising that that this sort of event might take place because it's a very unhappy country at the moment, Slovakia. Not just on this basis, but on the basis of how the country is going in general towards a more authoritarian future.
So that was immediately what Sky News in the UK was saying. I don't know, guys. Does that sound like they're trying to justify him being shot because he was a meanie, because he was a nationalist, because he was just mean? So the media immediately came out and said that. We also had the BBC came out with this. Let's see here, divisive. Okay, Mr. Fico is a divisive figure at home and controversial in the EU for his calls to end military aid to Ukraine and his opposition to sanctions on Russia. It's interesting that they had to throw that out there. It's a mystery that Scooby-Doo couldn't solve. Yeah, he also voted against the WHO is trying to pass some sort of global public pandemic plan, and he voted against it. So that stuff all happened. Now let's see, who is the guy that shot Robert Fico? Because this could be interesting. Okay, so let's see here. 71-year-old former security guard shot him. Okay. Let's see here. I like how it's Fico's right-wing coalition. Like, they call it the right-wing coalition. Like, let's look at what the National Council is literally like two socialist parties and I guess a far-right party. So that's the right-wing coalition, I guess. Of the two socialist parties. Let's see here. Where is it? Police have not yet identified... Okay, where is... I'm trying to find it because there's an article. What do we know? Just trying to find it. Okay. Slovak media has said the suspected assailant who was apprehended at the scene, 71-year-old man, the motive attacked remains unclear, although the assassination attempt was politically motivated, according to the Interior Minister, and the perpetrator's decision was born closely after the recent presidential election when an ally of Fico won the presidential election the previous month. The suspect is a former security guard at a shopping mall, has written 3 collections of poetry, and is a member of the Slovak Society of Writers, Slovakian media has reported. A member of the Rainbow Literary Club. Apparently he was like the founder of this thing called the Rainbow Literary Club, which glows like the sun. That sounds like an NGO to me. One of the founding members and chairman for a time, in a statement, the club condemned the attack and said that it was a strictly apolitical group and had revoked the assailants' membership with immediate effect. In an undated video published on Facebook, the suspected attacker was seen as saying, "I do not agree with government policy." So the guy said, it's the guy's son said, "I have no idea." Okay, so now we have this schizo post that I saw. So I don't know if any of this is true or not. I mean, this glows pretty fucking bright, like, to begin with. Just okay. I'm just trying to find Fico has been saying also that he's going to get whacked soon for his policies, and I mean it's interesting that just happened. Okay, so the assailant. Okay, so this is schizo posting. I don't know if any of this is real or not. It was president of the literary club. Worked as a security guard. Allegedly wanted to form a political party called the Movement Against Violence 8 years ago. Now, is there another party that's called Events Against Violence? I think there's a party called Serbs Against Violence who attempted to do a color revolution recently. So that's interesting. That's very interesting. According to a portal of some random Hungarian language newspaper, he was a part of a pro-Russian paramilitary group. Photos of him regularly attending meetings of the organization were published in 2016. The Hungarian website claims that the killer was listed as an author and publisher on the paramilitary group's Facebook page, and that some of his writings had been published. Okay, so I don't know, once again, if that's real or not, but if it does, that sounds like some sort of like FBI type shit. Like, it sounds like he was an infiltrator. Rays appear to criticize refugees in the Slovak state. It is a serious contradiction that the group's organizers uniformed commemorators of the grave of Joseph Tiso base, the head of the fascist puppet state. Okay. Where are we? Says that he had been planning assassination for a month because he disagreed with government policies. He said, "I do not agree with the government policies. Why are the media being targeted?" Etc. So he said that this was about the media and the NGOs. Let's see here. Fico said that he was going to get whacked a month or two ago. Yeah. So, I don't know. That's about all I had to say. If anyone else has anything they want to add in, they can. But it glows like the sun. Like, even if this wasn't some sort of conspiracy or like this was planned, they knew what they were doing. They've been demonizing him for months. They've been saying he's a fascist. They've been saying that he's a Nazi, that he has to be taken care of, that he's Fico is still in intensive care, from my understanding. I think he's stabilized. Serious but stable condition. So apparently he's been conscious. It's gonna be a long road. He got shot multiple times. Let's see, where did he get shot? It's a lone wolf assassin. It's a, like, who can say? He was shot. I don't know if all 5 shots hit him, though. So. So, like, once again, okay, so you can say that I'm conspiracy theorying for immediately saying that this is regime change. But like, I feel like the US and the EU have lost all benefit of the doubt, given they, like, in the last 3 years they've tried to regime change Belarus. I'm pretty sure Moldova and Romania. They're doing one in Georgia at the moment. There's what else is there? They threatened India. They threatened China. They probably were involved in the election in Taiwan. They're actively undermining the Japanese government. I'm gonna be honest. I wouldn't be surprised if there was some shenanigans going on with Shinzo Abe's death. I would not be surprised at all. Am I missing? They had that. They tried regime change in Russia. Um, I think there's some other. Okay. There's also Poland as well. So I mean, if someone could like tell me how that. Oh, Thailand, right? Thailand recently had regime change. Yep, Thailand did too. Um, so it's kind of like this has happened so many times in such a short period of time. I don't have the benefit of the doubt anymore. Um, why would the U.S. admin want Abe dead? Because he was conservative on social issues. I don't think he supported gay marriage, and he didn't support mass immigration. So, I it's I don't know. I don't know for sure. I said I would not be surprised, given how radical they've become over time. Um, you really think that they would assassinate him for that? Yes. Yes, I do. No, I think they would assassinate someone for being anti-immigration. I think they would assassinate someone for being against gay marriage. 100% yes. I mean, I don't like. I don't really get how that's far out there. I mean, this. Have you watched the news in the last like 5 or 6 years? Have you pressed your wet pointy hat lately? That's cool. Anyways, I don't want to get into a fight with Froggy. This was supposed to be a short stream. I think that more or less covers it. Um, I don't even know how I like. I'm Catholic, so it's not like I could even be part of that, anyways. And the KKK are like Freemasons, so I don't know why I would be involved with them. Also, I'm not an FBI agent, so I couldn't be part of them. Anyways, so let's let the gaslighting end, and good night and God bless everybody.